Good morning, students. In this video, we will learn about the structure of nephron, and then after we will discuss about its types. Here I have written juxtamedullary nephron and cortical nephron, and last we'll also see the blood vascular connections with this structure. So first we'll begin with the structure of a nephron. So here nephron, each human kidney is formed of about 1.25 million renal units known as nephron. And nephrons, these are the structural and the functional unit of the kidney. And as we all know, kidney is the main excretory organ of the mammalian system. And nephrons are the structural and the functional unit of that kidney. Each nephron is a long coiled tubular structure consisting of two parts. One is glomerulus, and another one is renal tubule. So one is glomerulus and another is renal tubule. So glomerulus, it is a tuft of blood capillaries formed by the branches of efferent arteriole. You can see the efferent arteriole here. So it is a tuft of blood capillaries which mainly formed by the branches of this efferent arteriole. These join this glomerulus part. These join to form efferent arteriole. And the efferent arteriole is wider than efferent arteriole. So this blood vessel, which is known as efferent arteriole, it is wider than efferent arteriole. An efferent arteriole brings oxygenated blood into the glomerulus, and efferent arteriole, it collects blood from glomerular capillaries. So both the blood vessels are actually transporting oxygenated blood. Efferent arteriole is giving oxygenated blood to the glomerulus, and efferent arteriole receives oxygenated blood from the glomerulus. Now we'll talk about the renal tubule. I'm just talking about the structure. Okay, first, renal tubule. The renal tubule or nephric tubule, it is also known as nephric tubule, begins with a double-walled cup-like structure that is called Bowman's capsule. This one. This part, it is the Bowman's capsule. Its other end opens. Into collecting duct. This is the collecting duct. Here it is labeled. This is the collecting duct. Okay. So the renal tubule or nephric tubule begins with a Bowman's capsule, and its other end opens into collecting duct. So this renal tubule, you can say this renal tubule is the broad part, and in this renal tubule it is differentiated into Bowman's capsule. Proximal convoluted tubule, the first convolution which mainly formed here, that is proximal convoluted tubule, and or it is also known as PCT, proximal convoluted tubule or PCT. Okay. Henle's loop. So this part is the loop of Henle or Henle's loop. This is the loop of Henle or Henle's loop. Here it is labeled. And distal convoluted tubule. This is the distal convoluted tubule, DCT. Distal convoluted tubule, DCT. This part is also under this distal convoluted tubule. Now first, Bowman's capsule. It is a double-walled cup-like structure at the proximal end of the renal tubule. The cavity of the cup encloses glomerulus. The Bowman's capsule, along with its glomerulus, is called renal capsule or Malpighian capsule, or it is also known as Malpighian body. Okay, so that means this glomerulus and Bowman's capsule together renal capsule or Malpighian capsule. Then PCT. Bowman's capsule opens at PCT, opens into PCT. It is a wide and greatly twisted tubule lined with a layer of columnar epithelial cells whose free surface is produced into microvilli to increase surface area for absorption, because the main function of the PCT is to reabsorb the essential elements which is present along with water. And PCT lies, you can see the PCT, it is mainly present in the cortex part. I have differentiated this cortex and the medulla part here. You can see this part is the cortex part, and this the lower one here. I have separated the part of the renal cortex and renal medulla. So the cortex part, the upper part is the cortex and the lower one is medulla. Okay, so PCT, it is mainly present in the cortex part. Then loop of Henle. Henle's loop is U-shaped or hairpin shaped. It lies in the medulla. You can see it lies in the medulla part and is formed of a descending limb. It forms a descending limb. This one in the loop of Henle, this part is known as the descending limb part, and an ascending limb. This part is known as the ascending limb. Each limb has a thick region towards the cortex and a thin region towards the medulla. The ascending limb, so this is the descending limb and this is the ascending limb. So the ascending limb continues into distal convoluted tubule. It continues into the distal convoluted tubule. Now the distal convoluted tubule, about the distal convoluted tubule, it is also highly coiled and lies in renal cortex, and its short terminal part is straight and is called the connecting tubule or junctional tubule, and it opens into a collecting duct. Now collecting ducts, these are larger ducts, each receiving the collecting tubules of several nephrons. So here you can see this is nephron number 1, this is nephron number 2, and they are distal convoluted tubule. Their distal convoluted tubules are opening into the collecting duct. These pass into the renal medulla and join each other, forming larger ducts of Bellini, and these ducts run through the renal pyramids and open into calyces, which leads into renal pelvis. The main thing is that from here, from this collecting duct, finally it moves into the renal pelvis part. Renal pelvis part. Pelvis or renal pelvis. So urine formed in the nephrons is conducted by collecting ducts to ducts of the Bellini and calyces, and then finally into the pelvis. And from that pelvis part, it is carried by ureter into the urinary bladder, from where it is passed out. So this is about the structure of the nephron. Now, if we talk about the blood vascular connections or blood vessels of kidneys, a renal artery. This is the renal artery. This is the renal artery. Brings blood to each kidney. It divides into afferent arteriole. It divides into afferent arteriole. An afferent arteriole forms capillary network that is known as the primary capillary network, and that is the glomerulus. In the cavity of Bowman's capsule, the capillaries of glomerulus then join to form an efferent arteriole. An efferent arteriole then leaves the Bowman's capsule and forms a network of peritubular capillaries. Peritubular capillaries. There is the capillary. You can see the capillaries. Peritubular capillaries. Why it is peritubular? Because it is in the peripheral part of the renal tubule. In the peritubular capillaries around the proximal convoluted tubule and the distal convoluted tubule of the nephron. And all the capillaries of vasa recta, that is the secondary capillary network, join to form, here it is, you can see, join, and it form the renal venule. So it is the renal venule. This is the renal venule. This blood vessel is the renal venule, which join together to form the renal vein that opens into the inferior vena cava. Okay. Now next, if we talk about the types of nephrons, two types of nephrons are there. Two types of nephrons are present in the kidney. One is called juxtamedullary nephron and another is known as cortical nephron. So juxtamedullary nephron, this one, so this is the juxtamedullary nephron. Only 15% of the total nephrons are juxtamedullary nephron. They lie both in cortex and medulla. You can see this is the cortex part, this is the medulla part, which already I have separated. So they lie both in the cortex as well as in the medulla. They have a very long loops of Henle's. You can see a very long Henle's loop. Their glomeruli occur close to the inner margin of cortex and long loops in the medulla. Next is the cortical nephron. So cortical nephrons, about 85% of total nephrons in the kidney are cortical nephrons, because you can see they are in the cortex part. That's why it is cortical nephrons. They lie in the renal cortex only because their loops of Henle are short. You can see very short. Here it is very long. In case of juxtamedullary nephron, it is very long. But in case of this cortical nephron, it is very short. The loop of Henle's part very short. Okay, so they lie in the renal cortex only because their loops of Henle are short and extend only for a short distance in the medulla. So these are the two types of nephrons which we can found inside the kidney. So this is about the types of nephrons, and these two types of nephrons are located inside the kidney. So this is about the structure of nephron, the blood vascular connection with the nephrons, and the types of nephrons. Thank you very much.